Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vinyl Rewind podcast, and I have the privilege, the honor to be talking with one of my favorite bands of all time, Anamanaguchi, and they are appearing. This is their second appearance on the podcast, so thank you so much for being here. This is so cool.
Glad to be back. This is awesome.
Yeah, and it's on the eve of a brand new release, which is great. And I just thought we should like catch up a little bit because it was like 5.5 years ago almost.
It was. Yeah.
USA had just come out.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And we were about to dive into a pandemic.
Yes.
We did a lot of talking about Weird Al, I remember.
Yeah, we did.
We don't have to touch on that today.
I inevitably will.
I have about an hour and a half of Weird Al to catch up on.
But yeah, the thing that when we announced this record, we were like, we didn't mean to take 6 years to make our next album. It kind of just happened. And like,
well, there was a soundtrack.
Well,
let's be fair.
Thanks for being fair.
And then like Scott Pilgrim got a whole like re-release. Like I'm sure that had momentum. And then and then
we did all the summer singles.
The summer singles. Yes.
We definitely were busy. We were just lounging for 6 years.
True. But yeah, the funny thing is this album like came together really, really quickly. Like 6 years, but in May of 2024, this album like basically didn't exist. And then by October of 2024, it was like done. Pretty much done, overly done. Like, and we've never really worked that way before. So I think
right.
I mean the pandemic and the lockdown, and we all live apart from each other now. Back in 2019, I think we were pretty much all living in New York. You were in LA, but you were around too.
Yeah, I was back and forth for sure.
And I think USA is an album that actually did take all of that 6 years to come together. And as you remember, like some of those songs were written like CRT Woods was started in like 2005 or something.
Right.
So there's like, this is so, to me, it's like a continuity of where we ended off on USA, but it's so different from in a lot of ways as well. It's just great to see you, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, same here. So you mentioned that like May didn't exist and then it came together rather quickly. Did it come together while you were all in person?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the cover there is 704 West High Street,
right?
Colloquially known as the American Football House.
Yes.
Just added on. How'd you know that? Right.
I read the press release. I read about the Airbnb.
Got to make something clear. It was not recorded at the American Football.
It was not recorded there. We had demos that were recorded there.
It was written there. We were there in the daytime. American Football, we're only there at night. Totally different vibe.
That's why it sounds so different from the American Football record.
Yeah, daytime, nighttime, very different. But we stayed there. That is May of 2024. That was like probably the last day that we were there, or just about near it. That photo is taken by Anna Longworth. We originally had so many different ideas for the album art. Like we had all these like cool ideas of like, what if we had like a giant robot, or like what if we had like Ari made this like 3D art thing where we were like on the middle of this like island in the middle of like a black sea, and it was like this like green 3D island. We were just like pasted on it. It said anyway. We were like, we were like, that looks really cool.
We made a lot of good art that we did not use. There's a lot of good B-side art.
Yeah, and each one of them we kept getting progressively smaller and smaller. Like the smaller we were on it, the better it was. That's we being small.
You liked us being small. That hit someday.
Yeah.
Weirdly informative to the final product. Yeah,
and we do have some red and green on there, I guess, with the sticker.
Yes.
Right, with the sticker that comes off and the wrapping. Yeah,
and then also the way we came up with the title, I feel like the record was kind of, I feel like similar to the artwork process in that level.
Yeah, like the record I think was going to be called Rage, which is one of the songs on the album, which is the song that came out as the day that we're shooting this. An hour ago. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, the album's Rage, and it's Rage, and then it wound up being called Anyway. So,
well, the story about how we named it is pretty interesting. Like how we each put it in 5, I don't know, however many names.
Yeah, we did. I've been playing a lot of competitive video games and going to like fighting game tournaments for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Awesome. And the way those are run is you have these double elimination brackets where like, you know, you have the top seed who's expected to win and the bottom seed who's not. And, you know, you have them play each other, and then when you lose, you get knocked into the losers bracket. So we each basically drafted 4 names to be like, here are our entries. The ones that we pretty much agreed on were the top seeds. The ones that like didn't really make a lot of sense were bottom feeds. And
at like midnight, before even like discussing we're going to do this or whatever, it was like
Okay.
when we were recording, we stayed in the house, we were writing it, then we were at Dave Fridman's staying there when we were recording everything. And or sometimes we were mixing it.
yeah, and this is what we were mixing it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely like, it's like midnight, kind of like we should be going to bed because we probably have to like wear like that. And we're kind of like, yo, you guys want to do like a bracket for album titles? We're being way too serious about it for like a second. And we need to like just like speed run it. So let's just see. But
Anyway was undefeated.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And James put it in the running.
That's why I brought up the story. I wanted you to say that. So. I think I told you guys, like, I think I told you before, like, how I came up with anyway, or like what made me think of the word anyway.
Yes. Yeah, we were at the like bar that was
spot
that was run by the singer from All Star.
Scott.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's his name? Scott.
Don't remember his last name.
Legend.
From
Singer of All.
Singer of All. Yeah, exactly. And there's a beer called Any Beer or something like that.
Which is a hysterical name.
Yeah, which is a weird name. And I didn't even wind up trying it there, but I saw Any. I was like, oh, anyway, it's actually pretty good. Like, yeah.
It worked out. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that would be it, but it beat every option that it came across.
It did. But yeah, so back to your question, which you asked like things came together like pretty much rather quickly in the house.
Yeah.
There was like a little bit of pre-production where each of us sort of like brought a couple things to the house that were mostly unfinished. I think we each brought something that was like done that we all like had to learn, but most things were just like sketches. And then I'd say that's like a third of them were like ready to go, a third of them were sketches, and a third of them didn't exist at all. And then there's a whole bunch of, we made like maybe 30 or 40 songs in that month.
Yeah.
And we recorded demos for all of them. And these are the ones that we felt like worked the best together and were the most of like a statement, and it's an album. And we like to keep things sort of, that's that thing.
Right. Yeah. And then let's talk about the change in sound a bit.
Yeah.
It's a shift, I would say.
Yes.
Talk to me about like the backstory behind that. Was there any sort of story behind that thought process?
Yeah. Ari, do you want to start on that maybe?
Like a big, so there was a shift, but it's like that came from the process, the writing process, like more than anything. Like that's where that shift I think came from, which was that like, traditionally the way we would do stuff and have been doing for, even when we all lived like within blocks of each other in Brooklyn, like, way back when, we would still work on songs very much so like sharing files and like that's, which was cool that we could do that then. I feel like that was still like before most people could figure that out.
Yeah, everyone was like renting up practice spaces, and we were like, we don't have to do that. We can just email files to each other. Yeah, that's cool.
We can just be a band through email all the time. So like jamming on like files that we would like trade back and forth, like Milky Tracker files and like different ones where it'd be kind of, we can just like send these back and forth.
Yeah, like a couple kilobyte project files.
Yeah.
For chiptunes, like
Drop this, stem in, things like that.
Which that evolved into like then doing like more advanced stuff and doing that. But then like, if you look at like USA era type stuff, it'd be we're all writing stuff like quite separately, and then like we'll bring it to the table and then start working together. And then the last piece of the puzzle being like, and now let's go find our instruments that we left in storage. And
literally.
And be like, all right, let's figure out how to like play these lines. And it's always like, it's fun.
What might be
cool is being like kind of sort of like, oh, like how do I like reverse engineer this like thing that we've like already built up now? It's like, be like, let's make it work as a band now. Like there's got to be a way to like the final piece being like the band elements and be like, cool. And I think that creates a unique sound for sure. And I think where you have a big shift here is that we did it in a way more like trad band style of just being kind of like, we're gonna like write this with the instruments first and just be like, let's lead with like kind of like what we know the best, or at least grew up like with initially, and like let's like start like writing it as something that works without like it's still not when we practice these songs, like it's the first time we can kind of play it without any of the correct stuff. Like before that would have been possible, like we couldn't figure that out at all. It's like no, it's like kind of like we would play these songs and write these songs, kind of hearing like all the elements that would come into it. It's like, oh, there'll be like some sick arps here eventually, like some good like arpeggios, there could be a good lead here, like this will translate very well to like having some cool percussion to it. But we didn't like need that to play songs that felt good to play. Like they would just like be like, let's like be this is like full and like hits as just like a band, like you can like start it that way. So we're writing that way, which I think that process dictated the biggest tonal shift more than anything. Was that kind of like it was like just sketching on paper versus like doing some photography thing or whatever. I don't know, it was like a big kind of medium, like felt very different.
Well, we all like independently grew up playing in bands like that, like writing and playing and rehearsing that way.
Yeah, Anamanaguchi was a spin-off of my high school band called Defective Electric originally. Like I don't think that Defective Electric sounds like this, but I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like a kind of like a reverse arc or something. I don't know, where we've like gone back into like high school band mode, and
It's like
living in the same house, you know.
Yeah.
Waking up, making coffees together every morning,
Running songs. Being like, what do we want to do today?
Yeah.
Did you listen to the American football album while staying in the house?
We actually didn't.
No.
I mean, I did.
I had you there. I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I as the band's resident
American football
Zello stan, like I try to do the thing where I'm like, if I am staying someplace or if I'm going somewhere that has music that I care about, then I want to listen to it in that environment. So the idea of walking around Urbana, Illinois and listening to Braid and being like, yeah, this makes far more sense to me now, having been in the place of its conception.
Right, but I just didn't want to have the image there of like the band all sitting in the living room, just like irreverent, like just we're in the house too.
Yeah. The house they did it again. We certainly didn't know that we were gonna use the house as the album cover.
Yeah, exactly.
It became such an integral part of the story of this album that we felt like it was important to.
Was this more of a candid photo then? Or
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't even intentional.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it was intentional to take.
I mean, it's
Intentional to take a photo, but like
right.
It's because it was like toward the end of it, and we should probably have like some piece of
Right.
record.
Going on like BTS or something.
Right.
BTS about writing at the head, right?
Yeah, it's a very good compositional photo. You know, it seems very intentional.
Longworth is extremely talented.
exactly. Yeah, Anna Longworth took the photo.
It reminds me a bit too of like if you go back in like to the 70s, almost like Crosby, Stills, and Nash when they're all on the porch, or even like music from the Big Pink.
Big Pink, yeah.
You know, this harkens back to that, even though like sonically it's referencing a
Noisier.
a different era.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. You know, what's funny is, as I mentioned, these different album cover ideas, like I wound up sharing a lot of them with Andrew Strasser, a friend of ours who made the album cover for USA.
Yeah.
And he also made the album cover for Endless Fantasy. The two before that were made by our friend Dave Morrow. And but I was on the phone with Andrew Strasser, and I had shown him all the things that we made, and I included that photo just like in there, and like it was in there with a bunch of other photos that were taken at the house for like potential liner note stuff. And Andrew, he's such a like strange, particular guy. I love him so much, but like he has a manner of speaking that I can't help but just I have to do an impression of him when I talk. He's like, to me, like I look at this robot and I just don't hear the songs, but I look at this and I see like he's basically saying like the crazy sounds come from like normal looking houses. He's like, I hear the crazy organic textures, and it's like he was like, this to me is an image that says a lot without saying anything at all. And he's like, he kept going back to that one. For me, so much of the story of the album is the need for us to like get together and, you know, be a band, because it's sort of rare, I think. Like, you might imagine that there are so many bands, and we're like trying to find bands to tour with. And yes, there are bands that exist, but there are way more like solo artists. Like,
I've noticed that
a lot more. And I think the systems in place right now really emphasize people to like broadcast themselves, and you know, the idea of like collaborating and like doing something that you're not 100% in control of is sort of like weird. And but for us, we were like, that's sort of what we wanted. And so we decided to all go to a place that none of us lived and none of us had really ever been, and that was the main appeal to going to Champaign. It's like our label's there, so it's not like Ari's gonna host us in his house in New York and I'm not gonna host us in Dallas and the rest. Instead, we wanted to go somewhere where we'd all be on like equal footing.
Right.
And this is the sort of neatest detail about it is Luke flew down to Dallas and we drove up together. So it's like a 12-hour drive.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad. And so we did it over 2 days, but we were like listening to this is like 2024, May 20, so the election was happening.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, I don't know, we were like boiling with so many weird feelings, and we were listening to a lot of Phil Oakes in the car drive up, and some Dead Kennedys, and some like, you know, a lot of like political stuff, a bit of Clash, and calling my brother on the phone and being like, I feel like, I don't know, this climate is so weird, we need to like say something, get political, like, we're mad, you know, whatever. And then when we all showed up at the house, like those feelings were still there, but what wound up really happening is like what I thought was going to be like a very angry thing turned into something fun just by virtue of us being together.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And I think that so much of the tone of the album comes from like the unexpectedness of like what each other are going to bring to the song. And there's a lot to talk about, obviously.
Yeah. We definitely went in with Dave, like saying that we wanted the recording to feel like
you're in the room with us.
And I think he really did a great job with that.
Totally.
How long were you at the house?
Just a month.
Okay. And then concluding that month, how soon after did you start recording, or did you?
Almost immediately.
Okay.
Yeah. May was that house. June was the other house, which is Tarbox Road Studios in Cassadaga, New York. Another like sort of college town outskirt situation.
Cool. Okay.
And outside of SUNY Fredonia. And that was about a fortnight, 2 weeks.
Just about 2 weeks of recording.
Yeah.
And then back for mix down after that in
September.
Yeah, September.
And in between that, we actually recorded the vocals in Dallas at Valve Studios.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, with this guy, Casey Diorio, who's really, really awesome.
And we would stay at the studio, at Dave's studio in Cassadaga too. So it was sort of like a coming back to the house kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Answer like new grounds and
Wake up together.
and you're like, cook dinner.
Be like, what's the mission for the day?
Yeah, as you get older, you miss out on those times. It gets much harder to do that. You know, we're all getting older, you know, and we have all different responsibilities and stuff. So that's really special.
Last time we were here, we talked about the movie Wild Hogs a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Touched on it.
We
tried to forget that, but yeah, we did.
Wild Hogs actually is very much this situation. Like, which we didn't recognize until
I'll allow it. All right.
No, it's really important this time. It's really important this time.
I'm seeing it.
yeah, it's like
I'm with you.
I'm 36. I turned 37 in September. Like, we're old, and there's this idea of like, you know, you have to hit the road and the road hits back. That's the Wild Hogs movie tagline. So yeah, when we were 21, it was funny to like reference, but now it's sort of like it's hitting closer to home.
It sucks to be like, I get it, Wild Hogs.
Well, maybe Arya always got it.
He's always lowering into it. I'm like, finally, I'm not like faking it. Like, I get to do this honestly now. But
yeah. So this interview is the perfect place to unveil the hog. We have a song on the record called Buck Wild. Yeah. Which like the original lyrics for the song were literally just straight up about the movie Wild Hogs, like 100%. And then as we were writing them, that's when we made the realization, it's like, wait, this is kind of a lot like us going to the American Football House to work on this album.
Four people, best friends, figuring out where they're at in life, doing this thing that
After a long time apart.
Oh my God, it's
bicycles instead of motorcycles.
That's right. Yeah, we got bikes off Facebook Marketplace. So
yeah, the same plot.
We pretended the song was about us. Maybe it was about us.
Well, it was easy to make it about us. We like switched like 3 lines.
Yeah,
that's about us now.
Yeah.
Which the lyrics in general being new for us on this record, I feel like we have a lot of those kind of like secret alt versions of things. I'd be like, all right, here's this whole thing. We could just like swap it real quick and then.
Let's say like lyrics aren't necessarily new for us, but yeah, you're going to say.
No. I mean, yeah, no, they're there.
Yeah.
I would say more so. Well, let's say more so these two.
Right.
But they're like every song now.
Yeah.
That's the different part.
Lyrics are new for us. And us singing on them.
Yeah.
Lyrics for other people is very different than lyrics for us.
Exactly.
Right, good point. Yes. Yeah, you have to. Also, the melody's got to be a melody you can sing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's easy to program for Hatsune Miku because you can make Miku do whatever. But yeah, I have a very limited vocal range apparently. But yeah, the main thing that became like a fun challenge for us is like it's easy to say pop it. Cool. This is like a fun pop song. And so the lyrics can be like nonsensical, but what are they going to make the audience feel? That's what matters.
Right.
Or Miku, it's like, cool, we get to channel this character who has like a canon, and we can make something super basic and boring and it will still be exciting because it's Miku. Like the idea there was like, you know, to have the Sum 41 Fat Lip or Eminem My Name Is for Miku. And I think we accomplished that goal for better or worse.
I love that.
But when it came to us, it's like, okay, now we get to, we're talking. We have to figure out what we want to say. And
Other than Wild
Wild
where we started.
That's yeah. Now that's out of the way. What else?
Yeah, so like the band's voice, like, are we cocky? Are we funny? Are we joking? Are we serious? Are we, you know, whatever? And I think maybe we'll find out. I don't know.
Was there ever a thought of like, how is this going to be received by our fans? Was that?
Yeah, I think so. That thought entered. It was definitely like background, because ultimately we want to just do what we want, I think.
Right.
But yeah, inevitably we were like, yeah, it's going to sound different to people. But I think people who have like honestly been there since the beginning, it will make the most sense to, because it's not that different from Power Supply or Dawn Metropolis even. It's very different from all the dancey stuff that we've done.
Right,
I think that's like the main, like, if there was an ingredient that's basically been muted on the album, it's that.
Right.
This is like a rock album through and through.
It's got a little seasoning, little chiptune seasoning.
Exactly. And it's funny, like when we were demoing out the tracks, like the mix of them, you can make like Power Supply style mixes of these songs, and like
Right.
played live too. Like it might not sound that different at all, except for their singing. But yeah, I think the balance came from like wanting to make a really full collaboration with Dave Friedman and his like mode of working. The way that I've been framing the like translation that we've done here is by saying that from all the lessons that we've learned making chiptune music, of questions about like the limits and being economical with how you manage like 5 channels of music, right? Like you have 2 melodic channels, 1 bass channel, and then 2 percussion. So for us, we're for the first time managing that economy around ourselves and what we're playing on guitar and bass and drums and background vocals. And we're like treating the 24 track tape machine that we recorded onto as our tracker. Like those are like the limits. That's all you get. And for the record, I think like a lot of rock bands felt frustrated by those limits. And now when you hear like a big rock album, it's like, here's like the biggest drum samples that we have, and we've
stacked 30 guitars.
Right.
And then you get it live and you're like, why is it not hitting?
Yeah. And so we're really stoked about trying to make the most out of a rock record, which just happened to be like, it harkens back to the 90s a lot, because those records were mostly cut onto tape.
Right.
And like on those consoles that had just so many channels, and they'd be like, we have 2 channels left. Why don't we add like a little like tambourine or something? Right. And like that's how those cool questions came up. Yeah. So I think when it came to like how the fans would respond to any of that, I think the true response can't be gauged until the concert. Because for me, this record is all about the live feeling. Okay. It's like, even like, that's almost why the art made so much sense. It's like we're in the house, come listen to it. Is like we're playing in the living room. That's what it's about. Like this is a recording of something that really happened and happens all over the place. So we were stoked to like, we're doing some free shows while we're here in California. One in San Diego, one at Program Skate Shop in Fullerton, Orange County. Yeah, it's all about the live feeling for us. So we'll see.
And then how are you like bridging that gap between like the old stuff and the new stuff, and like playing that all live?
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
Okay.
But the answer, I think, is we're going to like probably favor a lot of the the like punky stuff that we've done in the past that just
Right.
like could be played right after. We did one show, or we've only played one show so far. We did one on the day that Darcy came out on May 6th, and we tried playing Prom Night and Miku in between, and it was sort of like, let's figure this out. Because
Gotcha.
that was way like, because we've just done like 8 songs where people are like staring at us and like, or like dancing or trying to figure out what's going on. And then
And that was at like Nightclub 101, which is like a small venue in New York, and like there's no production.
Yeah,
no lights, no whatever, you know, which is like out of our element, I guess.
Yeah. And then when we played Miku, and it was like, okay, now everyone's staring at us, and I'm just like looking at the guitar neck playing the right notes. It's like less engaging. And so, yeah, that's the plan, is to figure out like the right way to bridge those things. So
kind of craft it a little bit, almost like a mixtape in a way. in a
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, and I think the way that we'll do it best is by just like taking the stuff that feels like the audience might not recognize the connection there, but we do, and we'll try and make those clear. You know, it'll be fun.
Are you going to be having more visuals and stuff for this?
James is working on some new.
that's
Working
great.
on it. Yeah. Well, actually, I'd say less visuals overall. Yeah. And this is like, you know, more rock band
Right.
oriented. But yeah, definitely been cooking with that, and our lighting designer Stephen Cohen.
Yeah.
Been working on it. So I think that'll also help in bridging that gap as well.
Trying to keep that same ethos, I think, of like the like the 24 track vibes, like not just like
Right.
unlimited. Exactly. Yeah, no, it was like more lights, more this, more
No video of this tour, when we pretty much every other tour we've had video.
Started with video, and we're like, yeah. There's that word ethos reminds me that like so much of what we want to do with this album is retrieve a kind of rock music, indie music that like seemed to honestly disappear around the time that we started as a band. Like somewhere around like 2009, 2010, it was already fading out, the idea that you would go to a venue in your hometown that like wasn't owned by Live Nation, and
Right.
you know, and you would just go out to see some local bands, or someone who is coming through town, or someone coming through town with someone even smaller. And we've seen touring transform over the past decade, and totally transform with COVID after the last time we hung out. And yeah, there's a like local community feeling that I think this record is just shot through with the sort of shows that we grew up going to that made us love music in the first place. And I think that, this record is our way of trying to harness what we love about music, and particularly live music, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I got to hear it early. I really enjoyed just the new direction, the sound that you guys make. I mean, I'm a sucker for that style, I would say, you know, that you've really captured, but also made it your own. And I love the fact that there are these chiptune elements, because like that it's you know, when I first heard your music, it was like a certain kind of nostalgia.
Yeah.
This is like another kind of nostalgia.
Yes.
But then you kind of, you know, you combine it a bit too, which I'm really digging the sound. I sent one of your songs to one that I think it was Darcy that was out. I sent it to my friend. He's like the only other person I know that. He's the only person I know that loves Weezer more than I do. Like he's a Weezer apologist. Anyway.
I joined the ranks there too.
Well, yeah, there's a line in the sand.
Talk about there.
Yes.
But you know, he was like, "Ooh, I like this." So, I mean, I really appreciate what you guys did on this album, and the fact that, you know, you weren't afraid to let's just change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I as much as I love some of these indie bands, they tend to iterate on themselves, and they kind of get stuck in this one sort of thing because it's like, well, just keep doing the same thing because that's what works. Yeah, but if you go like I mentioned earlier, you go back to the 70s or something like that, you know, a blues band might have like a really cool psych song on the same album.
ZZ Top might put out Afterburner. Yeah.
I mean, you look at Neil Young's 80s output, and it's like whiplash. Like, what? We do rockabilly and then like this heavy electronic album.
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
So I mean, and I read some comments on the subreddit for you guys, and you know, a lot of positivity there. A lot of people are like into it, you know.
Yeah, I think like people who listen to us probably have an open mind to begin with. It's like, you know, out of all the music to listen to, we sort of have always been happy to not be locked in by a particular genre. And like among chiptune, like we'll have
exactly, yeah,
all kinds of different things. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to like this kind of rock music with the electronic elements added, there are certain bands that we just like. I love it when those things are paired. Like Weezer has a bunch of songs like that, not on their albums so much, but on a lot of their B-sides, there'll be like a sick Moog synth or a sick something else. The band The Anniversary, a lot of great examples. Ozma too, of course. Rat-a-tat bands that are able to merge these. They're amazing. Yeah. And so we were like, yeah, we can. Or the Unicorns too, another great band. We can do this in a whole lot of ways, and it felt the most fun for us in 2025 to just go full on with the rock thing, because the joy of picking up an instrument, being like, what do I feel like playing, and then seeing what happens, like when it's like Luke sits down on a drum set and tries to play something that's fun to play with this thing that's already fun to play. Yeah, it's like stacking fun blocks.
I think we as a band tend to be the most excited about, like, I mean, it's always been something that I think we've been driven by, like, okay, what do we do differently this time? And that implements itself or like manifests itself in a lot of different ways between records and even in individual records. Like we don't like to do the same thing twice or once. And what makes that fun is that like when people who have been with us for a long time like understand that, you know, to I think a lot of what Pete has been saying, like they're not excited for us to do anything in particular. They will be excited about what we're hyped about. So yeah, like the idea of us only trying to do something for us that we have faith will be received with in open heart and open mind is kind of exciting. It's very exciting.
I think it's fun. Like I'm just like seeing like all the records too. First time ever. Like it's very much so like I feel like with our shit, like it's very like it's not a like a linear approach to, like we're not trying to like build off of USA or something. It's not kind of like how do we like do a better USA on the next one, which I respect that approach. There are many artists that like kind of just be like, let's just keep iterating on something until it's more perfect. But ours is like it feels like really circular, I would say. It's kind of like there's a sun that is like the vibe of Anamanaguchi that we're just kind of like orbiting around always. So more like that path. Like I can do that easy.
Heliocentric art? That's crazy.
It really feels that way with these records where it's like kind of like oh yeah, it's like it has a tie in this direction and a tie in that direction, and it's like furthest from like something on the other side of like the spectrum, but like it's like dude, we're doing like a move around like that, I think.
I think there were certain songs that we left off of this album that honestly felt a bit more like classic Anamanaguchi, and the song Lie Day I think is the one that is the most like it's the furthest on the Venn diagram. It's like that's the limit of how classic Gucci a song on this album can get. And there are ones where it's like, oh, here's a string of like 6th, 7th chords and 9th chords and like a bunch of harmonies on top of each other. We're like, yes, put that shelf somewhere else and we'll go back to that. But what we recognize as we have written all these songs, we're like, we've never done stuff quite like this, and this is all fun to play with. So let's like, even though that's cool, we've sort of already been there. So, right. So let's mess with this stuff that we don't quite understand yet. And that felt like the most fun thing to show up to Tarbox Road with and be like, what do we do with this? And an aspect of this that was really exciting for me too was in the same way that we would take apart the machines, the chiptune stuff back in the day, finding out the exact chips that were in these exact consoles and stuff like that, the assembly to put these things together. We did that for the instruments that we've been playing our entire lives. I've never thought about. I've never changed a pickup in my guitar. Right. I've never thought about the string gauge or thickness of the pick that I am using. I've never thought about really the amp that I'm using beyond like it has distortion or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But we found the rabbit in the hole, and we shook his hand, and then we came back and said, these are speakers from 1968. They are called like G12H30s, and they are made in this specific factory. And then that thing burned down, and now they're in here. Like we really like we freaked pretty hard on this.
Got very specific there.
Yeah. And
That sounds fun. Okay.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we wanted to be able to vouch for all the stuff we were using, and that we had basically taken for granted our entire career.
Wow. Okay. I like that.
Because like for a long time, we were sort of like the only band with the chiptune thing. Not the only, obviously. Wow. Sorry. But no, we were rare in that case, where it's like most chiptune things, or even electronic things like EDM, whatever. It's like we were always standing out for that reason. And now it seemed like the right time to investigate it and make it our own for real. And so, yeah, I think we did that.
I think so.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. I'm excited for everyone to hear it and then to see it live. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys are playing a Will Turn
That's right.
Correct. Yeah.
coming up.
We have the Buck Wild tour. The tour is named after the song, which
Oh, I
is
love it.
a reference to Wild Hogs. So
It's perfect.
but the Buck
Coming
Wild
full
tour,
circle there.
that's right. So it will bring us to Los Angeles in September, and a bunch of other cities across the country and Canada.
Seattle. Yeah, Seattle first show September 3rd. 4th of now.
Third, something like Luke knows. Luke's the keeper.
As long as you're there.
Yeah. And through October, and hopefully we'll be
October.
Exactly. Hopefully we'll be rocking even more after that, because it's cool to do a big tour, and then it's cool to, I think, keep playing shows.
I agree.
So
Let's keep them coming.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out and telling me about the record. This is great.
Thank you.
and enjoy the thingy.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
And then let's just grab a little.
Dude, I just realized Catch You on the Flip Side is like a oh, that's wrong. I never knew that.
Think about it. I had an idea if we ever release a B-sides from this.
Yeah.
We can call it Bennyway. Bennyway.
That's pretty good. That's genius.
I'd fuck with that.
With the A still, or just BNY way?
BNY way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it.